So they do that. So, and also I'd attract non-doms again. Instead of getting rid of them, right? There was one woman, she was paying £11 million a year in tax, and she's now hopped it. Yes. So we've lost the 11 million. And she was one person, one woman. Why? I want to hear. I want it back. I want to say Britain's open for business. Yeah. I then want to say things like, look, we're going to have a hell of a mess because we're going to have blackouts between now and 2030. I can't see any way of avoiding blackouts. Yeah. And the reason is this. Were they hoping to take demand up to 90, a number of 90? It's 90, forget how it comes, at a peak of about 90 gigawatts. Yes? The units don't matter. Today, we almost had a blackout this year in January the 8th, and we were 41 gigawatts. So they're heading up there. They won't get there because all the plans won't work out, but they're going high, 50, 60, etc. We're going up that. So every heat pump you put in and you take that, although a friend of mine really regrets that now, putting his in, but anyone who does that, you move over to more electricity away from other things. And we haven't got the backup. There's no such thing as energy storage. There is no such thing. I was the water resource engineer up in Norwich in the Electric Mountain, and that stores 9.1 gigawatts. So forget 9.1 is all that matters, right? But if we have a wind drought, we need tens of thousands, not 9.1. So it doesn't matter what you do. That's not an answer. Batteries, no, we can't do batteries because they're not there for taking the intermittency out of wind. That's another lie that governments tell you. All they're there for is two reasons. They're used to micro-adjust the supply and demand to keep it in balance, yes, as a daily thing, or combinations even, they're used to take the cheap energy overnight, just like you would charge your EV overnight, like a storage heat overnight, and then sell it at a high price the next day, right? You can't. If you try to do batteries for the 20-day drought, you're looking at over 7 trillion every 10 years, right? It's totally out of the question. It would cost more than that because we put such demand on the market for those materials, the price would just shoot up. We are being run by children at every level. And for those children, and the worst ones in the UK probably are in the Senate, right? I'd love. I mean, I watched. I mean, if you actually look, let's look at Wales now. Can you bring up this chart for me? The only second one.
Paul, yeah.
Right, there we are. Now, Welsh people, this is how much you're giving to climate change compared to, let's say, education. The education's there in red. But look at all the climate change money you're spending on capital funding. In fact, look at finance. Look at all your other services, health and social. So we're spending 5 times more in Wales on capital expenditure than we are on health and social services. And we're doing all this to make your energy multiple times more expensive and to reduce our grid to a third world status with blackouts. That is happening. I'm not exaggerating this. I'm emotional about it. I'm passionate about it. But do the people of Wales agree that's a good way to spend their money? Wouldn't they prefer to have a better health service? Because when you realise you're spending 5 times the capital expenditure, yeah, or look at the education, which has now declined. Wales used to be really good for education. This Labour government's reduced the quality of the education. They can make up all the posh words they like. Everyone knows it's gone down. And look at that, how much we're spending.
Yeah,
so,
Paul.
I mean, this is how bad the scam is.
Absolutely. If you were met with Ed Miliband face to face, what would you want to say to him?
How long have I got with him?
5 minutes.
If I've got a minute with him, I would spend the whole minute trying to stop myself strangling him, right? If I had an hour with him, I would. Well, I think he's incapable of listening to comments or figures. And I would say to him, the first thing I'd say is, why are you lying? Why are you telling us when you're paying now, Great British Energy, you've just announced this marvellous investment in carbon capture, which is over £1 million per person. Yeah, pay 800 million a year to fill in a hole that the rest of the world on that CO2 graph I showed you buries in 39.5 hours. The only way you can find that out is to take that figure from the graph, which is your graph, right? And you just divide it. So all it requires is one simple division to find that out. Why can't you do it? Why can't you see this? Why can't you understand that you don't even measure as a dot on that graph, right? Build back in. So that's a waste of time. Why don't you tell the people, when you've just invested hundreds of millions in and backed up the launch of floating wind farms? The floating wind farms work out to £300 a megawatt hour, as opposed to £55 a megawatt hour for untaxed. And when I say that, they put all sorts of green taxes on, but the normal price would be £55, right? You're charging about 6 times the price, and you're celebrating it. You're celebrating it because most people don't look at the figures, but I do, and why don't you allow me to debate somewhere? Why don't people who support this madness on net zero debate me? Why don't they? Right? I've got people saying batteries are the future, and I can do it. I can take them on my phone now and say, well, how much does a megawatt hour of battery cost? Bang, bang. How much do you need? Oh, you need 20,000. Oh, okay, that's 7 trillion. Are you with me? It's a simple. People say battery prices are reduced. I'll say, no, I foresaw that. That's not even today's price. I've knocked 20%.
Well, Paul, I think I would love to have you as our chancellor, by the sounds of it, not just on the environment.
Well,
I mean, you're great with the economy as well, aren't you?
Economy boom. You can make it boom. I did a paper, and it worked out that we were growing at 3.5% GDP every year, and we could then look at a very simple tax system. I'd do away with tens of thousands of civil servants, and I'd go for a level tax system. If you
Paul, can I just jump in, because I've got a burning question and I'll forget it. So apologies for interrupting. Right, the chart you've just shown you, I want to ask you a question. A lot of this refers to the wastage within Welsh government, right? Because we know that they have this net zero plan for 2030 to get to net zero, which will have no impact in the climate whatsoever. We know that. This is waste of this chart here isn't just a chart, is it? It's a waste of people's money. So what would you say to the Welsh government in respect to this? Because as you've said already, the Senedd are really hooked on this net zero agenda, aren't they?
Well, look at it. Just look how much they're spending more on climate change capital there than all the rest put together. Right?
I know, it's ridiculous.
Look how big the red is compared to the climate change. At least 5 times bigger. I mean, I don't believe anyone in Wales, any ordinary sensible person in Wales, right, would support that.